Hi, welcome to the second unit on algebra skills, and we're looking at the learning target of multiplying polynomials. And really what we're doing today is the distributive law. We're also verifying equivalence just to make sure that we did everything correctly. That's a big idea for this unit, just to make sure equivalence is proper so that if you do something, then you know you're doing it correct. Which comes to the first question here is, are these two things equivalent? This is actually a common question. And so when we see something like this, oftentimes what we think is we can just put the 2 in both. But if we see, like, we plug in a point, like 1 into f of x and 1 into g of x, we don't actually get the same thing. So they're not equivalent. And we'll see today, like, what you actually have to do that. You actually have to write out 2x plus 3, 2x plus 3, and use the distributive law. Okay? So basic rules of algebra, you have a few of them here, and so we're going to do this with numbers. We'll also do this with algebra just to kind of show these rules. The first one's called the commutative property. It's just when adding, the order doesn't matter. So if you think of like adding up these numbers, it would really be much more helpful to think of it like this. And then even then, to group the negative 10 and the positive 20, and maybe even put the 20 at the beginning and the negative 10 at the end, just to look at the question as 20 minus 10. Order doesn't matter. We can move things around, and it's the same thing with algebra. This is kind of like grouping like terms. Associative property, multiplying the order doesn't matter. So if you see something like this, x squared y and yx squared, that's the same as this, x squared y and 2x squared y, and so you can put them together. And again, it'll be to combine like terms. And then finally, the distributive property, everything, so if you have something outside a bracket, you can actually expand it in, 2xy times 3xy, and then 2xy times negative 5x squared y squared. Which this middle step you don't usually show, you usually just show the end. But 2 times 3 is 6, x times x squared, y times y is y squared. And then 2 times negative 5 is negative 10, x cubed, there's 3 x's, and there's 3 y's. And really, when we get to multiplying polynomials, we're just going to be using the distributive property. So a couple examples. 2a times, we're going to expand it in, so we use the distributive law, we get 2a squared. 2a times 5 is 10a. The second one, we're going to multiply 2x by x, we get 2x squared. 2x by negative 4, and get negative 8x. 3 times x give you positive 3x, that was already animated. And positive 3 times negative 4 is negative 12. I noticed that I just stacked the guys that were like terms, and I actually ran into this by accident, really, this method of stacking, because I just ran out of room when I was using pencil and paper, and I really liked it. I really saw that this is a good way to combine like terms. And so it shows you that negative 8 plus 3 is negative 5. In the next one, we're going to multiply 3x by x squared, we get 3x cubed. 3x by negative 5x, we get negative 15x squared. And 3x by 1, we get 3x. And then thinking of stacking, we can take 2 multiplied by x squared and get 2x squared. 2 times negative 5x is negative 10x. And 2 times 1 is 2. And so if they're stacked together, they're already grouped. And it becomes a little bit easier to look at it like that for adding. So we get 3x cubed minus 13x squared minus 7x plus 2. And the last one is a plus 2b cubed. So we're going to write out a plus 2b 3 times. And the best way to do this is to actually expand the first one just like you did in B. And then take that answer and expand it just like we did in C. And so we got a times a is a squared. Notice how we put brackets around this, though, because we actually are going to want to keep the brackets around the answer, because we're going to then have to multiply it by a plus 2b. a times 2b is 2ab, and then a times 2b times a is 2ba, but really that's the same we saw as 2ab. And the last one is 4b squared. Then multiplying that by a plus 2b, just going to continue that on the next slide. A squared times a is a cubed. A squared times 2b is 2a squared b. 4ab times a is 4a squared b, so we group those together. 4ab times 2b is 8ab squared, so there's 2 b's and 1a. 4b squared times a is 4ab squared, so we group those together. And then 4b squared times 2b is 8b cubed. And when we combine like terms, we get 6 and 12. And that would be it. Okay. And so there's some questions here, like for E will require you to do a little bit of this, and really to make sure that you can organize your steps and use the brackets and make sure that you do things that they tell you to. But it's also important to check your work in the back of the book, because you can, if you have a guess of what to do, you can see if it's correct in the back of the book. We also have to maintain this equivalence all the time.